this girl. I met her parents and.
What was her name?
Where was she from?
Huh? What was her name?
Yeah.
Rose.
Rose what?
Huh?
Rose what?
Rose Ice.
ICE?
IEIS.
Mm-hmm.
So she and I were going to get married. And I met her, but your Aunt Susan said to me right away, "You don't fit. You don't match. She must come from a very religious family." And
Was she Jewish?
yeah, sure. And this is not going to work. Well, I tell you, my sister always thought nobody was good enough for me. Whomever I met, she says they're no good, you know. So,
Was this Susan? Was this
Susan,
Yeah.
yeah, and we didn't interfere in that at all, and it's a different kind of sister. And so I came to the States, and she had booked a room for me on Central Park West, there to stay, and she invited me to come to her house.
Where did she live?
She lived in the Bronx. They had in those, well, they're still there, these huge apartment houses with telephone booths on each floor, you know, and tiled.
Where was this?
Grand Concourse?
That was in 190th Street up there
In Riverdale.
it's not in Harlem. It's above Harlem. It's
Washington Heights.
Washington Heights is more for Germans. This was more on the other side of the Bronx, you know. So I took a subway and I wanted to meet her parents.
Right.
And what do? I said, you bring flowers.
Right.
So I bought it, and I didn't have that much money on me, you know. I hadn't had a job yet, so I took the flowers and I came to the floor and she met me. Oh my God, you can't bring flowers, it's Shabbos. So the flowers went into the phone booth, never saw them again.
Because you can't carry anything on Shabbos?
You can't carry anything on Shabbos, they're very little. So I met the parents, they had my future all laid out for me. They were in the radiator decorations, you know, the metal which in front of the radiator has all kind of cutouts. And
Right.
They were in that business and they had a fairly big factory. So I was going to join that business, you know. But the join of Rose and I, as you know, that never worked out. We broke up. And she is the one who knew your grandma, you know, and she said right away, "Why don't you marry Ruth?" I mean she knew Ruth. She said she'd be much happier than with me. We broke up. 50 years later, when Ruth died, we put an ad in the New York Times, you know, not an ad, but an obituary.
Yeah.
And I get a call from a woman whom I knew because I was at her wedding 50 years ago, and my girlfriend Rose caught the bouquet, of course, you know, that was the sign that we were going to get married. She called me and she said, "You know, Rose is so sorry to hear that your wife passed away. She lives in South America, she's coming to the States. She would like to see you again." And we had been very close, you know. I mean, it was, after all, you go through these things. So I said, okay, I'll meet her, you know. Oh, it was a disaster, the meeting. Nothing was left of the old relationship. And here was a woman who was a young girl when I met her. And here was an old woman, not an old woman, but an elderly lady coming in to see me, who hadn't seen me in 50 years. So they made an arrangement for me in Jersey somewhere to meet in a restaurant. They booked the booth and God knows. They thought for sure we were going to get together again. Yeah. It doesn't work, you know, not after 50 years. So, and she kept on writing to me, and then when I met Ruth Millett, I wrote her a note that I said, you know, there's no sense in going on in any kind of relationship which you don't have. I met somebody. That's the last time I heard from her. Famous camps. Mm-hmm. And I was sent there, I came to Mauthausen practically, I think the day after the war was finished, or 2 days.
And you were with the American forces?
I was with America. Mm-hmm. And I was supposed to interrogate a French quizzling president, who was Laval. But I didn't speak French, so they had to get somebody else, so I never got to meet him. But I went to Mauthausen, and it was a sheer
Were people still
a
there?
nightmare.
Oh, the prisoners were still there?
Yeah, a sheer nightmare.
Give Josh some.
How long had it been since they were liberated?
Since we were what?
Since the camp was liberated, how long?
2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
So tell Josh what you saw.
Maybe 3 days.
Tell Josh what you saw.
What did I see?
Yeah.
Lots of horror, mass graves, and you know the liberating army. And I was attached to them at one time. Was 101st Airborne Division.
Really, you were
Which
attached to the 101st
Well, I was attached to the 432nd Doolittle Bomb Squadron.
Wow.
You know who Colonel Doolittle was?
Yes.
Oh, you do know him?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. I'm glad to learn your history. So I knew him. I was attached to that bombing squadron as an interpreter.
Wow.
So I used to hitch rides to England. But
What, hitch rides on an airplane?
yeah,
On an airplane, hitch rides.
yeah, I had yeah, sure. Yeah, back to
What type of
Heathrow-
plane?
to Heathrow. They were bombers. That's all they flew. I forgot the B.
B-31.
B. Yeah, I think the B. Yeah.
B-27.
In those days, they had B-27s. Yeah, and they are the ones who went to Tokyo, Tokyo. That was Doolittle's mission. Yeah, but they left me behind because they thought I would come along with them to the States, but I couldn't go to the States yet. I was still a sort of on a international passport. You know, not an American passport, not a British passport. It was like a paper to identification paper, like a green card today. Yeah. But
So you went into the camp with the Americans?
I went to the camp, and there I met another woman. But this was not a relationship. There was a young lady who came to me looking for a job, and I still got pictures of her in my album. And I called her Struppi. Struppi, she was Viennese. She was in the camp. She was twice in the gas chamber, and twice they couldn't close the doors, and she fell out and was saved. Can you imagine
Oh my
that?
God.
Yeah. So, you know, I became very friendly with her, which when you weren't allowed to fraternize, you weren't allowed under the laws. But while I was working for the 101st Airborne, they were absolutely ruthless, you know, and so I gave her food and cigarettes, and I don't know whatever happened to her, but I got pictures of her.
But was the Red Cross already in the camp when you got there?
Yeah, the Red Cross had just arrived, yeah. But the 101st Airborne Division took the German, whatever was left of the German
They made them
guards.
dig the graves, right?
Well, not only that, they were much worse than that. The 101st Airborne Division consists of murderers and all kinds of people who were in this, and because they died very quickly, you know, in those days. There was a fence where the Germans had built a double fence. The fence was electrified. You couldn't get through. There were two fences. So what the 101st Airborne did, they had all the time in the world sitting there waiting for something to happen. They took the K rations and threw them in between the two electric fences, taunting the Germans to pick them up, because they didn't give them any food either, you know. And once they put their hands through that, they shot their hands off, you know. So they were very cool. The 101st
This was the Gestapo or whoever was the camp guards that took prisoner?
Yeah, but they weren't supposed to do that. I mean, it calmed down after a few days, you know, but there was law and order, but...
And the prisoners...
we are not angels, as we learned in Vietnam and as we learned in Iraq. We are not, our soldiers are just as bad as the others, because, you know, that's their mission, to kill, you know.
And so the prisoners, were they just emancipated and...
No, the prisoners, this was only a few days, the prisoners were not, but they were, most of them were released. It wasn't like Guantanamo Bay, that they were all taken prisoners like in Iraq, you know, and still sitting there.
Right.
It was
Only the high-level
most of them
Nazis
were released.
only the high-level Nazis.
They got away with God knows what, you know. And 60 years later, they would have found somebody, these 96 years old. What are they going to do with them? Put them on trial, or, it makes no sense anymore. It really doesn't make any sense.
So you went into the camp and
Yeah, I stayed. I was stationed right near there. Yeah, it's a place called Salamzee, which is it's a fantastic ski resort. Ruth used to go skiing there when she lived. She lived in Vienna. She went skiing there. So that's where I spent a lot of time in that. And then I was transferred to different divisions as an interpreter, and we used to censor the mail. We used to stop the trains to get everybody off. They had messages and microfilms under the stamps. The neo-Nazis went on. It wasn't killed overnight, It's still there today. But as a postal censorship, we. In fact, your grandmother worked on it too. That's how I met her, actually. We opened up every letter in the mail. I don't think it was legally okay, but we did, Today there would be an uproar if you do that. But we opened to look for secret messages or microfilms under the stamps. That was a common thing to do. They had already these small microfilms, actual films, and they put them on the stamps to get messages, So we stopped all kinds of trains and did work in all different cities. That was interesting. Got paid well, and I had a girlfriend. I had your grandma was there too, so it was and that's how I came here, through this relationship I had.